Hi, my name is Bernice, and this is TLC at the Family Life Centre. TLC is the lounge chat, and in the lounge chat, my colleague Josh and I are going to be talking about violence in the family today. So, violence in the family is a very complex issue, a very difficult issue, and I think there's a lot of questions around it. But let us key into what Joshna says about it. Josh, thank you for being with us this morning.
Hi, Bernice. Thank you so much for having me here today.
It's a pleasure. What is an organized family? What is a family that works?
Okay, so people speak about a family unit as blood relationships. It's not always the blood relationships that make a family.
Okay.
And often it's people that share similarities and that have a common bond. That makes a family. And sometimes family members can be people from the church, or family members can be mother, father. And those are healthy family relationships, we assume. And we're not going to be the typical family structure where we say mother, father, 2 children, a dog, a cat, and a picket fence. I mean, that's really not the structure of families in today's society and in today's communities. We have a range of different types of families, and I think that's also important, and we need to be mindful when, for example, we speak about defining a family, not to limit it in those categories.
Okay. So it's so true, Josh. There's so many different types of families nowadays, and it's so exciting to see groups of people bonding together that would not ordinarily have bonded together many years ago and been considered a family, and now we have these groups called families, and I think it's such a progression in society and how we look at things. But sometimes things go wrong in families, and if there's an abuser in a family that is causing violence in the family, what is the impact on that family?
Thanks, Bernice. I think that's such a valid point to consider, because if one person in a system is not functioning in a healthy manner, it has impact. It has ripple effect on the rest of the people. It can be very devastating if particularly there's violence in the family for the rest of the family members, and sometimes you will get that people respond to it differently in the family. So each member in a family will respond differently to the same violence. Okay, and then you will sometimes find that maybe children, particularly when they're very little, will be showing behaviors such as withdrawing or putting up tantrums or acting out in other spaces, not within the family setup. The partners respond differently, either by being overprotective or highly defensive over behavior and actions that happen in the family. And it's interesting when you speak about violence in the family, particularly one of the traits of that is also a sense of being alienated from other systems or other communities and people around us.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be quite a thing.
Yeah, so that family, because they want to keep their secret, isolate themselves, and so the children probably wouldn't be allowed to have friends, and if assuming it's the male, the father figure violating, mother wouldn't be allowed to have friends, she would be isolated. And is that fair to say that everybody feels the impact of that isolation?
I agree with you, and you're right when you say everybody feels it, because that isolation in a way seems like it's a crippling effect.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has impact on the way they see themselves within that family system. So as individuals, you start owning a way of responding to that circumstances, and that becomes the way you live. That becomes the way you sustain that violence in the home. And often people are not having the skills or the coping tools or the mechanisms to cope with that kind of violence or to break that cycle.
Okay. So Josh, can a family heal from this?
Lovely question, Bernice. And I often wonder, and I do believe that they can. And I think people can only heal from it when they are willing to go out there and look for something. And the healing doesn't happen where it's big and it's a massive input or an intervention, the healing can be very small and minute. And sometimes people can't change what's happening in the family as like the person's behavior or the actions or the words that they use. But I certainly believe that if we can teach people to empower themselves by responding differently to the same circumstances, they can start taking ownership and respond and changing something on a very subtle level, but it's empowering for them.
So what I'm understanding is it's very challenging to get the whole family. If there's not buy-in from everybody, it's very challenging to get the whole family to have family therapy. But as an individual member of that family, you can take a stand. You can make it happen for yourself, and you can take action. Is that correct?
For sure.
Okay. All right. Well, that's very heartening, because what that says is that there's always hope. There's always hope to get out of the violence.
For sure.
Thank you so much for those
You're
wise
welcome.
words. There you have it. If you are in a situation where the family is experiencing violations, if there's abuse, whether it's physical abuse or emotional abuse, you don't have to wait for the family to take action. You can take action on your own. At Family Life, we have specialized, trained counselors who can equip you with tools, who can create an understanding of your situation, which is a long way to the healing process. Why don't you call us? Our number's going to be at the bottom of this podcast. Call us and somebody will be on hand to help you.